Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Troy with DDM's World, and I've got another weekly walkthrough for you. If you haven't already, throw me a subscribe, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, and become a patron. I really appreciate that support. All right, so we're going to get going here. And all right, so this week on Neverwinter, there's not a lot of events going on right now. However, you should be working on your Jungles of Cholt campaign because when that comes out, it picks up right where it leaves off. So let me show you here. If you notice, I'm actually on the test server today because I'm going to show you some of the stuff for the new mod. All right, but before we get to some of the good stuff, you see the old campaign setting stopped right here with the Blessings of Abatao. But the new campaign that comes out extends each and every one of these. So if you haven't yet filled these out, you're going to want to work on these and get them done. So as soon as that new mod comes out, you can go ahead and start building up the rest of these suckers here. None of the old campaign currency will work for the new one, but the new mod that's coming out works the exact same way, has all the same kind of tricks and tips and things that are going to be going on to advance this campaign. So you see that on the test server have like the weekly haul limit and stuff like that. So you're kind of throttled as you go through here. But I will dive into this a little bit more in upcoming weekly shows. So once we get close to the release, it's probably going to be exactly what release is. Now we're 3 weeks out. So they might tweak and change stuff a little bit still. All right, so if you're not doing that, get to work on it because you're going to want that campaign done so you can jump right into the new mod and advance as fast as possible. All right, so then upcoming this weekend, we have a CTA event happening. Was it Garndar the Vile, and 2 times Profession XP and double resources. The CTA event is pretty cool. It's a very easy one where you can get the Savage enchantment, which is nice, as well as there's the Lizard Folk Shaman that you can get to, which is a pretty sought after healer companion, especially if you're leveling up lower level tunes and stuff like that. It's a pretty helpful and nice companion to have. Savage has some decent stuff for offense, I think, but of course, all that stuff is arbitrary depending on what kind of build you are and what kind of player you like to have. For the 2 times professionals that are coming up, you're going to probably want to, if you don't already have like Black Eyes Shaping, you're going to want to work on that. But kind of prepare yourself to get these new, or to take advantage of the weekend for doing that. Some of the best skills that we're going to want to do. Oh, before I get to that, sorry. For a quick little note. Also, I noticed that guild mark discounts coming up, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. So if you're in a guild, you might want to save onto your marks, hold onto your marks, or save them. Sorry, crossing my sentences here. So you can get the discount in the next, not this coming weekend, but the weekend afterwards. And that way you can get the most bang for your buck. One last quick little note I want to throw out. Looks like they're going to have a long maintenance window tomorrow, longer than normal. It's going to be like a 6-7 hour window. Looks like they're updating the full platform, as well as they're probably sneaking stuff on for the new mod as well. Alrighty, so what are we looking at? We're looking at the skills weekend coming up. So there's a couple things about this, is that for most of the professions, you will get twice the XP for each event. Let's go ahead and go into these. So if you do any of these events or tasks, you'll get twice the XP for them. You can level up anything quite quickly doing that, but you're going to want to probably do the more difficult tasks first, or professions first. Leadership is one that I always tout as an important and a good one to have. It's difficult to level up because you get very little XP for doing things, and it's expensive to accelerate it because a lot of the tasks take a long time. So this is one you should definitely focus on if you haven't already leveled it up, because it'll definitely speed that up. And leadership is a great default one that I use on all my characters, all my alts, and everything else. for if I have nothing to craft or nothing to build, always run leadership tasks. So then you can fill up your inventory with the bags and stuff that they produce. I don't know if you can see that over here. I think you can. So I've got a couple hundred bags of these, and I'll open those up if I need to enhance something or if I want to upgrade some gear or something like that. I can open up a bunch of these and get that taken care of. Um, and one thing I wanted to note is I don't know this for sure, but I thought last time there was a 2 times enchantment weekend, these gems that came out of here were doubled. And I hope that's true. If I'm lying, I'm sorry, but I would suggest hanging on to these because, again, in a couple weeks, they're doing a 2 times enchantment weekend, and you might be able to get a bunch of extra stuff from these bags that you get from leadership here. Leadership's also nice because it gives you everyday items like shrines or campfires and altars. Sorry, getting my games mixed up here. Maybe I should have some coffee. Hold on a second. All right, you know that coffee is going to help out. Get talking so fast, you won't be able to understand me at all. All right, anyway, so these extra boxes and stuff have all kinds of things that you can do for professional resources. They'll have things that you can use for crafting. They have all the refined things in them. They've got potions of healing. We got tons of stuff. Skill kits, so you can pick out all those nodes everywhere. So they're very helpful, especially for newer players, to get a bunch of the kind of everyday generic gear that you need to play instead of having to drop a bunch of money on those things. And another nice thing about it is that all of the skills have crates. So if you're part of a guild, you can actually build these crates, put them in your coffer, and help increase your guild there. This one's kind of nice because you can do a crate of astral diamonds. There is no level differences. There's not tiers on these, so you could even put crappy dudes in here and still get the 3 astral diamonds, which doesn't seem like much, but it counts as 3,000 astral diamonds being put into the coffer. All right, so leadership is going to be the first one that you want to work on. Multitasking is hard. All right, so leadership is the first one that you're going to want to work on. However, there's a couple other skills that are kind of tricky to have. One of those is going to be alchemy, which doesn't level like normal ones. In alchemy, you can build a bunch of stuff, but if you notice, the tasks don't have XP on them. The only one that does is this alchemical research. You do this alchemical research by getting these alchemical basic knowledges, which is from the experimentation. Now, during the weekend, you're going to get double of the research, so you'll be able to get to the level up task quicker. Problem with that is that the duration takes a long time to upgrade or to level up. So when you get the stuff to do that, you're going to definitely want to throw in extra alchemists in here to try to speed this up as much as possible, because you're going to basically lose a bunch of time during the weekend waiting for this to level up. But that's a good one because you can actually get your potions for you. There are a bunch of things for fashions, so doing dyes, that kind of thing, as well as if you're in a guild that you could do make gold and make gems as well with the alchemy skill. So the other one I would suggest working on this weekend is actually black ice shaping. Now, a lot of people are like, why are you even bothering with this? This is super old, outdated gear. The reason to bother with this is is because you can get overload slots here. Where did they go? All right, so you can actually build and create these black ice enchantments, which go into overload slots, which last for 8 hours of combat time, which is awesome. And it just takes really a little bit of effort to go in here and farm some of this stuff up. And then if you have decent assets, you can make multiple enchantments, multiple overloads with each kind of set that you do, or each round of crafting you do. Excuse me. So this one's definitely worth your time. Now, during the weekend, the costs of upgrading this is going to be halved. So for black ice shaping, you can level it up as soon as you're ready, or as soon as you want to, I guess, but you have to feed it a ton of black ice as well as unified elements. I actually am fully leveled up on this, so I can't show you that actual task. But you'll see a task in here if you can level that's throw in 50,000 black ice and 10 unified elements. However, on the weekend, it's going to be 25,000 black ice and 5 unified elements. So that's going to be significantly cheaper for you to go ahead and do. So if you're actually working on this and you want to make the most of this weekend, you're going to want to work on an alchemy task. So you'll either be working on the research, because you can only do one of those at a time, and a black ice task to level that up, which will take a long time. And then do as many of the leadership ones as you can. Oh, there's something. Oh, yeah. What was I going to say about this? I don't know. It'll come back to me as we're diving around here and really getting into the nitty gritty of these things. So that's what I was going to tell you, is that the alchemy tasks have these research tasks here where you or the experiment. So you do this experiment, and you may get one of the alchemical knowledges. Now, if you get enough so I need 3 to level up to 20 for this character here. If I get 3, don't do any more of the experimentations, because no matter how many more experimentations you do, you're not going to get any more research. So as soon as you have enough for research, level that thing up. I know it's tempting if you've bought like 20 of each kind of these potions to do the experimentation. Excuse me. I know it's tempting to keep doing that to hope that you can keep getting those that knowledge, but you will not actually get any more of those. You'll just get these potions, these unstable potions, which can be quite frustrating and a waste of resources if you don't know that. And there's nothing in here that will tell you that you won't get any more. So make sure that once you have the ability to level up, and when you do, load that leveling with as many alchemists and high as quality alchemists as you can, so you can speed that up and get multiple levels done in a day, hopefully. So when you're looking at leadership, there's a couple things that you should keep in mind. When I have somebody that's not capped out, I look at the XP stuff, but the XP stuff is not going to be doubled. So not everything is doubled on here, just the XP for the profession, not the experience that you'll get as your character. So when you're leveling these things up, look and try to get the highest ones as you're doing it. And then you need to make a decision. Are you going to be playing a bunch? Are you going to be actively online where you can reset these things? If you can, do the shortest ones, because then you can keep on redoing those over and over and over, and you'll get far more than if you were to do them like once a day. So I have a ton of alts. Like once a day, I'll do leadership tasks. I'll invoke so I can work towards getting coal wards. But if there's characters I'm playing, I'm going to reverse this around and do the shortest term tasks possible, because then I'll be able to keep upgrading it or keep getting that XP. Now, when you're doing this, if you don't have any really good ones in the rare section here, so make sure you uncheck the hide unmet requirements. If you don't have any good high XP ones here, every tier basically of crafting or professions for leadership has this training one right here. This is going to be the most XP. The training one is the most regular XP you can get at any tier. I know I usually don't do it because they have because they are just XP and they don't give me any items, they don't give me any money, they don't give me any gear. But if you're looking at just leveling up leadership, those are definitely the ones to go for. So one of the reasons leadership takes so long to level up is that the amount of XP you get for them is the same of other tasks, but it's when the time that you take is far less. So let's go ahead and look at this last one that we just did here. So here's training at 21st level, 500 a task. If I go into platesmithing at 21st level and see what my leveling task is, it's going to be your mass or your deep thing, or your deep woods gathering, or whatever it may be. It's going to be worth a lot more. Here we go. So this is worth 2,000. So it's worth 4 times as much to do a single task in a regular crafting type profession than it does in leadership. So it takes 4 times longer effectively to do leadership. That's why on these weekends you should really push to do as much as you can for leadership, because it is just a slow leveling profession. And another part about this is it doesn't have the gems that you can use to quickly complete a task. So, if you don't want to do leadership, if you don't want to do these harder ones, which I would still very much suggest that you do, because it's so much more difficult to do black eye shaping, alchemy, and leadership than the other task, then you can move into the regular crafting task, whichever one suits your fancy or suits your class or whatever. And then if you want to go quick on these, there are tasks with gems in them. Let's see if I can find one here. That are your deep woods tasks, but they take like 10 seconds to do. So you can buy these bags of gems. Let's see if it actually says gems in there. Nope. So you can buy these bags of gems to do the very quick tasks, and then you can actually level up these pretty quickly if you're willing to spend some money on those. Here we go. What is it? Bag of gems. It is bag of gems. I thought it might have had a different name to it. So these bag of gems do the tasks, kind of like the deep woods tasks or the long-term tasks, but in 10 seconds. So if you want to just power through one of these skills or professions very, very quickly, go buy a whole bunch of bag of gems and do these tasks, and you will level up crazy fast. But in my opinion, it's really not worth it, because these regular skills level up, or regular professions level up fairly quickly. Does anybody have any questions about the specifics with these professions and what you can and can't do with them? Or shall I move on? Probably eager to see some of the new gear, because I know I am eager to earn some of it, that's for sure. Alright, well, if you have any questions, throw them up there. Shoot me a tell in game or on the chat, and I'll try to answer those if I have the answers for them. Alright, so let me check my notes, make sure I went through everything here. Yeah, oh, the last thing I do need to actually talk about is one of the things that people don't seem to get quite so much, is that there's the 2 times XP for the profession task. So your working on professions is accelerated, but also all the skill nodes have double the resources in them. So it's definitely a good weekend to load up on skill node things and go and take your time to grab those extra skill nodes, because you can even get you can get like blue insignias out of them. I've pulled dragon eggs out of skill nodes before, so they could be worth your time. Now, don't count on a dragon egg, because I think I've gotten one in whatever 5 years of playing, but I have seen them come out of skill nodes, and you can get a bunch of other stuff that is useful. Also, if you're part of a guild, you can get the explorer maps and go hunt down the special guild nodes that are spread throughout the area, spread throughout the world, depending on the explorer map that you get. And then those nodes also give you double resources, which is pretty awesome if you're working on those things. Definitely, if you're looking at some of this crafting stuff, or some like the master crafting, you can stock up on that stuff fairly cheaply and with little effort to get that done. Alright, so new gear. Let's take a look at it. Alright, so I'm sitting in the Lost City here. And of course, as you pull up your collections, they always have whatever your specific weapon is. So depending on your class, it'll have a different weapon, different graphics, that kind of stuff. But it will have similar stats to it. So let's see here. There's some of the ones that are coming out here. Primal weapons. Let's see. So here are some weapons that can be dropped from the Tier 3 hunt in Omu. And these are also ones that you can get from the trader in the port city, whatever. So the port city is going to have some new gear in there that you can actually purchase with the campaign currency you'll get from the Lost City. If you have a ton of currency like I do from the first one, you can't spend it on the new items, but they will be available to purchase off there, whatever. So you have some item level 500 once they get up to it, or get up to that. Excuse me, get the upgraded to that point with some pretty good stats on them. They also, most of them have different effects, and one of the things that I noticed on here, I probably won't be able to find it now that I'm talking about it, is that there are new effects that grant like melee powers damage bonuses or ranged power bonuses versus just hunts or just goblins or something like that. So it's actually much more useful as an item to have on a character because you'll be able to use it kind of all the time no matter where you are, and versus you're just in Chult hunting dinosaurs. All right, what do we got here? So those are the older ones. That is. So now they've added this stuff into the Chult thing here, but it is kind of intermixed in here. Certainly haven't got any of those. Where are we at? So there are only 3 things listed in here in the new raid, or not raid, but I guess Epic Trial is this game's version of a raid. And I expect there's probably a lot more things that you can get out of here. Let's see if I can move this so you can see a little better. There was a dev blog. Let me pull that up here. So this dev blog actually has a pretty good overview that we can look at and see what kind of things they have. You can check this out on their website. I'll just go through a quick little rundown of it, and that way you can kind of see the generic things, but I know there's a bunch of hunt stuff that I wanted to show you as well. So you can check this out, but there's a lot of different new looks, weapon sets. There is a new item, a new artifact that's available, which goes with new artifact. Let's see, artifacts, belts, and neck slots that are coming out, which I'm pretty happy about. It's about time that they have released some new artifact sets. This is going to work off the same idea of being able to get an item and then actually upgrade it even further. So you'll see that there's the Vivify, there's Exalted stuff, all things that you're going to get from the Cradle of Gods run, I bet. Hopefully it's not a whole bunch of new marks, but I haven't actually been in there yet, so I don't know how exactly that's going to work. But new weapons, offhand and primary hand upgrades. There's some new hunts that are coming out. Here is one of the weapons that's coming out with a new hunt. Let's see here. Taking it to a whole new level. That's just you're upgrading things further. Oh, there are a couple new mounts that you can get, which are quite colorful. Anyway, you can look at the dev blog. You can see what that's all about. Read into that a little bit further. I don't need to reread that to you, that's for sure. Okay, so let's look at the hunt gear here. So, the sets first. So some of the new sets they have here is going to be, like I said, the cloak, belt, and artifact set. So here's your artifact. We saw that already in the dev blog, but then there's a couple different things here that grant some different bonuses depending on if you're kind of getting the offensive set or a defensive set. Let's see here. All right, here's some of the crazy cool stuff that I'm pretty excited about. So the hunts of Omu are going to act just like the Jungle of Cholt ones where you're in the Soshinshar River, where you can run around, kill the rares, take their trophies, turn them in for a lure, go back out, lure out that boss, and kill it for loot. Keep an eye out. I will have all those treasure maps hopefully figured out and videos coming up right before or right after the mod actually gets released. All depends on how much I can get done on the preview server here. All right, so here's some of the new rings that you're getting. These look like they're mostly defensive or have double defensive slots on them versus the other ones that have an offensive and a defensive. So may help out and may be a good thing since people seem to be getting torn up in the Jungles of Cholt campaign quite a bit. The dinosaurs and some of their devious tricks they have in the dungeons are kind of nasty. Let's see here. So that one, defense is increased when you're moving. Now we're jumping around. And then, as before, it'll tell you which hunts you can find these in. Increases movement. Where are they? So this is all increasing stats. They're 510 is the +5 versions of these rings, which is pretty nice. Will definitely help kick the item levels up. And then just as the last part of this campaign, or I guess the Jungles of Cholt versus the Lost City here, there are a set of boots that's got 4 boots, 4 arms, 4 helmets, 3 helmets, and 3 pieces of armor that you can get. Now these seem to be of the equivalent power of the hunts of the last part of the jungle or whatever. They're all 480, but they have some pretty cool effects on them. Trying to find, here we go. Your encounter powers do 3% more damage. So that's awesome. You could use those jaw rippers gloves anywhere and everywhere. Your encounter powers are always going to do more damage because I really don't like the situational effects where you're just doing dinosaurs or you're just doing undead. Now, it's great if you happen to be farming that stuff, but I get sick of being in one place doing one thing all the time. So I'll work on the current campaign, but then I'll go over to another area and work on other things, do old dungeons, try to keep it fresh. And having stuff that's just specifically all about killing dinosaurs can totally be a pain when you're off doing those other things. Now, those older things are generally easier to do, so it's not like I'm having a harder time doing it. It's just that my new gear is not being terribly effective against old content. And stuff like this, where your encounter powers are always going to do more damage, is always going to be beneficial no matter where you go. And that's the kind of gear that I like to have. And that's what I work on. So that gives you an idea of some of the stuff that's out there. If you really want to dig into it, I suggest just getting on the preview server yourself. I mean, you could spend hours just sitting here going through the different equipment, comparing it with what you have, and trying to figure out what your goal is going to be when the mod comes out. But that's going to get a little tedious. I wanted to just show you some of the cool stuff that I noticed on here as I was going through here, running around, and get you excited about the new mod as well. Now, in the upcoming weekly walkthroughs, I plan on doing some more previews server stuff. I'm going to go through and show you what some of the dailies are all about, what the weekly quest is about. I don't know if I'll be able to get access into the new dungeon or not, but I'll try to do that. But give you as much preview of the upcoming stuff as I can, so you guys are going to be ready as soon as the mod hits live, that you can, know what to do, where to go, how to rock it, and get to that end content as soon as possible. Well, if there's any other questions, throw them at me. And if not, I appreciate you guys watching. I appreciate you subscribing. Follow me on Facebook and Twitter. And if you want to throw down your support, become a patron on Patreon. That really helps me be able to keep these things going for you guys. All right. Well, I guess that appears to be it. Again, thanks for watching, and until next time, play smarter, not harder. Thanks.